Ready to go? Okay, welcome everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Planning and Economic Development in January 2024. I have a couple announcements I'd like to first. I'd like to welcome Fred Johnson, Mr. Fred Larson, for being part of the committee. I'm looking forward to working with you both. I don't think Fred Larson will be here until the March meeting, is what I was told. We also want to let people know in the viewing audience that Nate Aldridge and Rebecca Worster will be in the meeting via Zoom. They have some travel restrictions due to weather, so they will be with us via Zoom, okay? Onto the agenda. The first order of business will be the approval of the minutes. Has the committee members had a chance to review or read the minutes?
Yes.
Looking for a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item is privilege of the floor. Do we have anybody that needs to speak on the privilege of the floor? Seeing nobody, we'll move on to the first resolution. Do we have anybody? Yes, we do. Can you please introduce yourself?
I'm Lauren Sharp. I'm a junior planner with the Department of Planning and Development.
Okay, I'll read the resolution. We want to confirm appointments to the county, or to Chautauqua County Agriculture and Farmland Protection Board.
So we just have two appointments on this resolution. One is Legislator Johnson. He's replacing John Hemmer. Our second one is William Northrup. He's classified as one of our active farmers, and he's replacing Steve Kimball, who was a longtime member of the board. He came highly recommended by Steve, so the board's really happy to have both of them join us. Questions?
Does anybody from the committee have any questions?
From Westfield?
Yes.
All right.
He's on the town board there.
Does anybody have any questions on the committee, on the appointments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Thank you.
Welcome, thank you. Second resolution is to confirm appointment of Lake Erie Management Commission. Do we have anybody to speak on that?
Peter, are you doing this one? Surely.
If you could please introduce yourself, sir.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dave McCoy. I'm Chautauqua County Watershed Coordinator, and I work within the Chautauqua County Department of Planning and Development.
Okay, welcome. Has anybody had a chance to look at the resolution on the appointments? Yes? Do we have any questions for Mr. McCoy on the appointments?
No, with the departure of your esteemed colleague, Kevin Muldowney, it creates an opening on the Lake Erie Management Commission. It's great to have another legislator from the North County join our board, so we're thrilled to have Marcus.
Good. We're excited about that as well, too. All those in favor of the appointment?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Thanks, David.
Thank
for your
you.
time. Appreciate it. Resolution number 3 is to confirm appointment and reappointment of the Chautauqua County Visitors Bureau Board of Directors. Do we have anybody to speak on the Visitors Bureau?
We've been a member of them for a long time. They're a good group.
Seeing none, has the committee had an opportunity to look at the appointments?
Yes.
Yes. And is everyone in favor?
Yes.
So moved. Okay, resolution number 4 is to confirm appointment of the County of Chautauqua Industrial Development Agency Board of Directors. Please introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Mark Geis. I'm the Deputy County Executive for Economic Development, and I'm the CEO of the Industrial Development Agency. So, with Kevin Muldowney, Kevin Muldowney served on the board of the IDA for 2 years. And of course, with him not being reelected, he was ex officio on the board. With him not being reelected, Tom, now as the PED chair, is ex officio on the board of the IDA. So Kevin had expressed an interest to stay on the board if he could. He really enjoys it. He went through all the training. He understands it. He's a local businessman up in the North County. And so I checked with our council to find out if there was anything, you know, any reason why we couldn't do that. And he said, absolutely not. So this is appointing Kevin Muldowney to the open position, because we had one open position. So he makes up the 9th member of the IDA board.
Great.
Good. Good man.
Yeah.
It's good to see Kevin involved again. He was, I know he was very helpful and very instrumental with the IDA, and it's great to see him back.
No doubt, and there's always a learning curve, you know, with anybody that comes on board. It takes a while to learn all the training and, you know.
I'm looking
all the
forward
other
to it as
stuff.
well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, I'm
exactly.
looking forward to it. I really am,
Yeah.
truly. So, thank you. All those in favor of the appointments?
Aye.
All right.
Carried. Okay, thank you, Mark.
Sure.
Resolution number 5, this is to amend the 2024 budget to implement round 3 of the marketing assistance to businesses in a not-for-profits project within Chautauqua County American Rescue Plan, ARPA spending plan.
So I could get very complicated here, but I'm going to try not to. In round 1, $400,000 was allocated for the business assistance program. There was more to it than that, but so we did 3 things with that money. We took part of that, about $320,000, and we provided grants to businesses to upgrade their marketing. That's one of the things we saw in COVID, was that those businesses that were able to sort of pivot a little bit and be able to have more of a presence online did better during the COVID. And so we really felt that there was a need for that. So, you know, we teamed up, the IDA, we teamed up with the Chamber of Commerce and the Small Business Development Center. We developed an application, a fillable PDF, if you will, and we did some marketing, and we opened that up for a week, and we got over 80 applicants. There was 3 things we wanted to do with that money, though, above and beyond just that grant program. One was that we wanted to do what we called an ESG white paper, environmental social governance, sort of help companies to think about those things that they could do internally to improve their culture. We did that with Insight Consulting, and then we worked with Invest Buffalo Niagara. They did 6, they helped 6 companies with their economic gardening program. But anyway, long story short, we had enough in that 400 to help, let me get the number right. Out of those 85, we were able to assist 40 businesses in round 1.
That's great.
So we still had 84 applicants, or I'm sorry, 44 applicants that were still on a waiting list. So we went to the Ralph Wilson Foundation. We told them, look, we created this great program. We've got it all, all set. We've got these people that are eager to take advantage of it. Would you help us? They allocated, gave us $258,000, and we rolled that out, and we helped another 35 businesses with that. So there was only 9 businesses that were still on the waiting list. So out of this, out of the remaining ARPA money, and we had to wait our turn,
Sure.
but the ARPA committee, as you know, recommended that this, that we receive another 71,000 and some change to help these final 9 businesses. They're all set. We got all their applications. We're ready to go. Once you approve this, probably within the next week or 2, we'll have that out.
Being on the ARPA committee, it was, I thought it was a great idea, and I'll be supporting this, I know that, so.
Yeah, and we've got really good testimony. I actually put together a report of this entire program that I'd be glad to share with you all, with all the stuff that we did, all the, spreadsheets, of all the businesses that we helped, and the amount and all that, so really happy with it. And I'm psyched if we can get this, these final 9 done.
Yeah, Mark, I'd love to have you share that with me.
Yeah.
Report.
Do we have any discussion?
Mr.
Dave,
Chairman,
please.
Mark, could you provide me with a list of the companies that you've helped?
Yeah, you,
Maybe you got one right there?
yeah, I only have one copy of this report. I'll send it to you electronically.
Okay.
I've got the whole report all put together. I can give you an idea, like, just real quick here. 21 Bricks, Be More Fitness, Bemis Point Association, Biodome, Bon Original Crunch Roll, Carlberg Farm, Century 21 Turner Brokers, Chautauqua Adult Daycare Services, Chautauqua Art Gallery, Chautauqua Children's Gym, Chautauqua County Humane Society, Chautauqua Lake Association, Chautauqua Leadership Network, Chautauqua Marina, Custom Stitches, Dutch Village Restaurant, Group Therapy, Harrington Architecture, I-86, Jamestown Mattress, Merritt Estate Winery, Mulligan's, Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation, Om Nam Gluten Free LLC. Want me to keep going?
No, you're good.
It goes on and on. I mean, that's only the first 15, so there are 84. And it goes on and on. We opened it up to everyone. We didn't care if they were a for-profit business or an agency or a nonprofit or whatever. Everyone was entitled, and it was to do things like update their website, update their social media presence, signage, all those things to tell people who they are and what they're doing to get them in the door.
Perfect.
I'll send this to all of you, this report.
No, I just wanted to make sure
Yep.
that we were providing help to small businesses. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't want to see the Jackson Center pop up there or the Comedy Center.
No,
That's a different group.
We-
I wanna
we-
make sure we're brick and mortar, mom and pop shops. That's-
we had a limit. We wouldn't fund anybody that was greater than 50 employees
Okay, great. Thank
because we wanted this to be for small
Right.
businesses.
you. I
Yep.
appreciate that.
And the limit was 10,000. It ended up being about an average of $8,000 per applicant.
Which is great. Good. Is there any further discussion? Because I'll be looking for a motion to amend the 2024 budget to implement the round 3 of this program.
So moved.
Second.
Second? Okay. All those in favor of amending the budget?
Aye.
All right.
Carried, thank you. Do we need to go, since it's amended, do we need to have another discussion, or it's been amended, we're discussed?
You have another resolution.
Well, I know. I just talked about this one we just passed, that one. The one we just passed on is what I'm talking about.
You're done with it.
Oh, we amended the,
We
okay.
just amended the budget.
Got it, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, number 6, resolution is to authorize extension of lease agreement for Department of Planning and Development at the at BWB Center.
So every year we come back and we have to, get approval from the legislature to extend our lease agreement. The only difference this year is it's not a 1 year, and there's a reason for that. It's 27 months, because that's the term that the IDA has at the BWB building. And again, not to get too complex, but we, because of the ABO audit, if you want to call it that, one of the things that they flagged was that we were renting, the IDA is renting to the county at less than fair market value, okay? And so there's a whole process that the Authority Budget Office laws actually require us to go through in order to do that. So we have to prove, and we have to take it to our board for approval, that saying, basically, look at, by the way, our appraisal came back at the value of that space at $14.50 per square foot, and we're renting it to the county at $6.58 a square foot. It's really nice space. I mean, so we passed a resolution at the last board meeting that basically said, look at, the IDA is renting the space to the county at less than fair market value. However, it makes a lot of sense because we have a common mission. And that mission is economic development and planning, and it makes sense for all of us to be under the same roof. And the board was all in favor with that. We'd have to go through this every year. I had to pay for an appraisal, which was, I don't know, $1,500, I want to say. So if it was year to year, I have to do that whole process every single year. An appraisal, back to the board, appraisal, back to the board. So by extending this out 27 months, we don't have to do this again for 27 months.
That makes sense.
And that matches the lease that you have with the BWB building?
Yes.
Okay,
Exactly.
perfect. Great,
Make sense?
makes
Yes,
sense.
it does. Do the committee members have anything to add or discuss on the resolution? I'm looking for a motion.
So moved?
Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, David. All those in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 7 on the agenda is a discussion of the table resolution number 327-23 to authorize use of the 3% reserve funding and authorize agreement with Chautauqua Region Economic Development Corporation to initiate a public art program.
So Rebecca's going to speak to this. I don't want to steal your thunder or mess it up or anything, so I will push it right over to her to run with this, and then maybe I'll fill in some blanks if I need to.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Chairman. Rebecca Worster, Planning Coordinator for the Department of Planning and Development. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. I believe Olivia gave you a packet that included kind of some talking points and then a mural program proposal. Do you have that?
Oh,
Okay, I'll just share my screen. That's all right. And I'll send everything to you right after this. So, let me see. Give me 1 second to share my screen. All right. So I'll just give a quick background on our request. So it's for the $100,000 for a public art tourism destination program. And that program has kind of 2 projects that we're looking to implement. One is the mural project, a countywide mural program. We're calling it Paint CHQ. And then the other program is a public art chair installation program that we're looking at specific large-scale chairs that have historic value and relate back to our strong history in the furniture industry. So I'll talk a little bit about the mural project first. The program's really intended to build off of what our department is really working on countywide in terms of downtown revitalization and economic development efforts in our towns, villages, and cities. The project is proposed to be 5 large-scale murals in 5 downtown districts, providing murals that will help attract visitors, locals, and tourists to our communities. I kind of went over the benefits last meeting, but some of those benefits of a mural program include enhancing the community and encouraging tourism and commerce with our businesses, improving quality of life, having pride and community identity in the murals that are going to be going up. There's some economic development benefits. For every $1 invested in a nonprofit arts program, it generates on average $6 in tax revenue. And in addition, the National Endowment for the Arts and the Bureau of Economic Analysis has recently released some data in 2023 that identified in 2020 to 2021, total economic value added by arts and culture industries grew by 13.7%. And that's huge because that was during COVID. And in terms of the gross domestic products, arts and culture ranked number 3, and that was just below healthcare and social assistance businesses and retail and trade. So, that's scoring higher than transportation industry, outdoor recreation, mining, and agriculture. So there's a big economic impact in investing in the arts. I just wanted to kind of bring that up. That was some questions last time that we had. And in terms of other benefits, engaging the community and public's appreciation for art, creating platforms for storytelling and education, and really talent attraction and retention, specifically in the creative class, which includes artists, engineers, education majors, people that are architects, musicians, people that are attracted to the arts. If they see investment in murals and different art programs in a community, they're more likely to want to live, work, and play there. So that's some benefits. I know we wanted to talk a little more about project details. So this is on, I'll send you the packet right after this. I apologize that you don't have it in front of you. But this is specific to kind of the project description and what's going to be included in the mural project. So let me zoom in just a little bit for you. So it really includes four key elements for a successful public art program specific to the murals. Choosing the location. So we'll be looking at identifying 5 locations throughout the county, specific probably to downtown core areas, located near corridors of commerce. We'll be looking at walls that are suitable for murals. Not every wall is in the best condition to have a mural on it, and then specifically get approval from property owners, and also have agreement from the community on where that wants to go. Funding, that's why I'm here right now. Outreach, we talked about engagement with our municipalities, but we'll also include the public, our local arts organizations. We'll hold some town hall meetings on the program and really engage and educate the community on overall what we're trying to do here. We'll create a local steering committee in each of the 5 communities to work through the process. And then specifically talent-wise, this will be open to all local artists, so anyone is able to participate and apply to participate, but that local steering committee will kind of have a say in the type of artist that they're looking for and reviewing the call for artists that we receive, the proposals that we receive. So it will be open all to local artists as well. And then there's really a huge selection and review that the local steering committee will be a part of, and as well as the artwork. So there'll be a creative brief that the community will come up with. Things like what the community identifies with, its history, maybe it's a specific flower, maybe it's Lake Erie or Chautauqua Lake, those are just examples. And then the artist will put their own spin on what they feel the mural should look like. They'll give a couple options, and then the steering committee will ultimately approve that, as well as the property owner. So there's a lot involved, as I've mentioned. Timeline-wise, I'm not going to go into detail on that too much, but ultimately we're looking at doing 5 murals in September of this year. So it'd be a 2-week period that the artists would come in, do the artwork over 2 weeks. We'd have an unveiling, kind of a little festival related to each unveiling of the artwork, and really just embrace it, get excited about it. There'll probably be some great press along the way. We're going to do a mapping, have a map available of all the different mural locations for the new murals, as well as existing murals, to really get tourists and people to go out and visit all the different stops for mural locations. And then lastly, the most important piece is the cost. So it's not cheap. Murals typically run an average $15,000 to $18,000. We're doing 5, so the proposal included 5 to 6 murals. We're going to specifically do 5, and it includes the events that I mentioned, legal fees. There's property owner and artist contracts between everyone that need to be done. So, we need that ability to work with some legal experts to put together contracts. And then consultant fees. So I did not put together this whole proposal. We actually reached out to Livingston County, which has Letchworth State Park and Lake Canisius Lake down by the Finger Lakes area. They worked with Alex Hall, who is an artist and public space consultant, on a 9 mural project throughout Livingston County, and really said, we had no idea what was involved in this kind of program, and we needed some consultant help in the beginning. Now they have all of the pieces, and now they run a program by themselves. But the first time around, they need that extra help. So it'd be proposed that we would recommend that we work with Alex Hall on the project, and specifically out of this budget, 70,000 is what we're requesting for the mural project piece, 30,000 for the chairs, which I'll talk about shortly. But the remaining so total budget would be 108,000. The remaining funds would be elsewhere through the partnership, and we're going to apply through some local foundations for the additional remaining funding that we need. But we're pretty positive that we can secure that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in terms of the mural side of it.
If I could just say, Rebecca,
Sharing
real
my
quick,
screen.
that, when they first brought this to me, the planning department has some really talented young staff. And this is the kind of stuff that they really like, and they brought it to Rebecca, and they brought it to me and said, we'd really like to do this. We think it would be great. It's the kind of thing that appeals to, especially our people our age, but everybody, it appeals to everyone. But this is sort of thinking a little bit outside of the box, and cool things that we can do that are cool, that help brand the community. And so as I listened to them, it made more and more sense to me over time. So go ahead with the chair.
No problem. All right, and for the chair side of things, as I mentioned, we're proposing 6 large-scale chairs that really celebrate our county's history and the furniture industry, but also celebrate our unique geographic assets as well. We're going to work with local municipalities who have a historic tie to our furniture industry, as well as select unique locations that create kind of Instagrammable moments. Social media is so huge in tourism attraction these days. A recent study in bookings.com stated that 75% of travelers tend to use social media to influence their travel destination choices. So, creating those unique Instagrammable or social media moments, it really is a huge draw now. And so for the murals, for the chairs, having those unique things that you can sit and take pictures at, it really draws people to your communities. Again, 3 chairs, we want to specifically focus on large scale and that relate to the furniture industry. Those aren't cheap. We're guessing around $7,000 per chair. We've got an estimate of roughly $7,000 per chair. And then 3 additional chairs that would be set in unique locations to celebrate Chautauqua County's geography. Maybe it's a really cool Adirondack chair looking out at Chautauqua Lake, or a really unique swing on Lake Erie that you can look out, a nice overlook or something like that. And then each chair will have a plaque with details on the history and overall project that will be included with each chair as well.
I wanted to make one other comment about it okay, I'm sorry. Are you done?
Go ahead and make the comment, and then I'll just talk budget.
Yeah, just real quick. So my office in Jamestown at the BWB, I look directly out at that large chair that's on 3rd Street. All day long in the summer, I see people going out, getting up on that and sitting there and having their picture taken. And it's constant. And it's like, wow, this is amazing how many people get up on that chair and get their picture taken. So anyway, just to confirm what Rebecca's saying.
Thanks, Mark. And then lastly, the budget breakdown. You can see it a little better instead of me explaining it like I was prior. So 70,000 out of the 100 would go towards the murals. 30,000 out of the 100 would be the chair program. We'd have some outside funding sources. I mentioned the partnership and potentially a couple local foundations, and total project cost For paint CHQ, 108,000, and chairs still 30,000. And I'll stop sharing and take questions.
Should, Fred here. So one, we just did a mural down in Westfield by the community bank, and so I'm just gonna check and see what that cost us. The other thing is out year costs in terms of maintenance, both on the chairs and on the murals. You know, they look great when they go up first, and then they fade, and then they look like down at heel, and so, you know, it's not one and done. There's a tail cost on this.
Yep,
That is a concern.
good point.
Yeah, murals, 15 to 20 years. They're really using great materials these days that really last longer. You know, we're talking 10,000 square foot murals, like really large scale. So just think about that when you're checking the cost on the one in Westfield. And actually, we met with the local arts organization there to talk through this potential project with them as well. They're excited for the potential. So, you know, large scale, you know, just think about that also when you're getting that cost.
10,000 square feet, so that's
It's massive,
100 by 100.
pretty much.
Where do we have 100 by 100 surfaces?
We've got some big spaces in Westfield we were looking at. The cities have big spaces. A
Yeah.
couple villages have big spaces. So there are big
Yeah,
buildings
it
out
can
there.
have windows too. I mean, it's not
Yep.
like it has to be without windows, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of examples in this, that what she's gonna send you, of
Yep.
projects that they've done throughout the country.
Do all these
Yeah, and
costs,
I'll,
I'm sorry, do all these costs include, like prepping? Because I know a lot of the buildings have to be sanded,
Yes.
sandblasted, prepped before paint is applied. I know that takes some time to do as well. Is all that factored into this cost?
Yes. Yes, it
Was
is.
it in? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So does Zoom end?
I think- Yeah,
Okay.
I know Dave had he had some concerns
Well,
last
no,
time
one
we
of the things was, I
discussed.
just want to thank Rebecca because I did ask her for a business plan, and she certainly did provide. The only thing I ask is that this information, make sure that every legislator has it before we caucus at next week's meeting, because that's we go down through the lists of what we're gonna talk about, and we'll get a feel then on how people are gonna vote one way or the other. And this type of information is what people are gonna be looking at. So I appreciate what you've done for this. I asked you for this, and you came through. So thank you so much, Rebecca. Appreciate it.
problem.
Thanks for your comments, Dave, on that. So, thank you, Rebecca.
And again, this is out of the 3%, which has to be used for tourism-related, out of the reserve, and we have a fairly healthy reserve, so.
Okay.
Okay, but can I just make sure we ask that it gets to them, don't put
Oh,
it
yeah.
in the mailboxes? Because, you know, like, people who don't come back, they'll come back late at
After
the
the fact.
meeting, and then they'll pick it up, and we won't have a chance to talk.
So email it to them?
If you could email it to them, I think would be the best.
Okay, so we need to email it to all the
All
legislators.
the legislators, when we're all on the same block.
What? Yes,
Will do.
she's doing it right now,
Okay.
so you don't even have to do it,
perfect.
Rebecca.
Thank you.
Thanks, Olivia.
Move along.
Thank you. Thanks, Rebecca. Does anyone have any other things to add to this discussion?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, we have a presentation.
Oh, you're gonna vote on it?
You can't vote on it. It was tabled at the legislature meeting.
I didn't realize that. Okay, there you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have a presentation from Cornell Cooperative Extension, impact of the ARPA funding.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Reynolds. I'm the Executive Director at Cornell Cooperative Extension, and I like to periodically bring you presentations about what we do at Cooperative Extension. And today I roped Lisa into coming with me. We want to talk to you about the ARPA funds that were allocated to agriculture and administered through Cooperative Extension. So I'll let Lisa introduce herself.
Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Lisa Kempesty. I work with Cornell Cooperative Extension here in Chautauqua County, as the dairy and livestock and general agriculture educator. I am very proud to say that I've been with Cornell Cooperative Extension for 39 years. Some of my coworkers tease me about really being old, but I've really enjoyed my position and love working with our agricultural producers. This evening, as Emily mentioned, we're passing around some information about the Chautauqua County Agricultural Improvement Program. And this was made possible through the American Rescue Act funds provided to Cornell Cooperative Extension of Chautauqua County by the Chautauqua County Legislature to help producers with some projects that they were looking to complete in their farm businesses. And I'm very glad to say that I think it was very successful. So a little bit about this. I thank whoever set this up for this to come to Cornell Cooperative Extension, because we do have a really great network with our agricultural producers, whether it's grape growers, livestock, dairy producers, fruit and vegetable growers, et cetera. So as I visited with the farmers, they were extremely pleased that the county legislature provided some funding for our county agriculture. So as you're all peering at that, I just have a question for you. Is agriculture important in Chautauqua County? Absolutely. Economic driver, open spaces, and most importantly, how many of us eat 3 times a day? Or more.
Speaking of which, I did mention to Lisa
Speaking of which,
that you guys like snacks. So she picked up some cheese.
we have some
You want to tell them about
Yeah,
the
go
cheese, where
ahead.
it came from, and then we'll go back to ARPA funding?
locally produced cheese curd from Eden Valley Creamery. The dairy farm the creamery is actually located in Cattaraugus County, just over the county line. But the cheese curd and other cheese products are actually marketed here throughout Chautauqua County at some of our major grocery stores, as well as some of the smaller roadside stand businesses. So the current cheesemaker at Eden Valley Creamery is a past Chautauqua County 4-H member, a friend of mine, and she came from a dairy farm in Chautauqua County and then moved on to making cheese over at Eden Valley Creamery. Has anyone been over there yet, to Eden Valley Creamery?
No, but didn't they partner with Reverie at some point?
Yes, they were, and then Emily Knight Smith, who is the cheesemaker, they have purchased some of those Reverie
Right. Recipes.
recipes, yes. And Emily, these are available too, but this is what Emily had available for some brochures and business cards, if people want to take one. So anyways, I just thought Emily said everyone's hungry when they're here at this time, but we've got 3 different choices. There's the plain cheese curd, there is the tomato basil, and I believe that
Dill.
is, thank you, the dill pickle. They make
Okay.
a lot of different choices that are in this brochure. I brought a few with me, as well as their business card. But the business is in South Dayton, New York. Again, it's just over the county line into Cattaraugus County. The farm is, and the business is owned by Eden Valley Organic Mammoser Farm out of Eden, New York, and they also operate a dairy farm here in Chautauqua County in Stockton. So it is organic. The milk is all organic that is producing, is being made into the cheese. Okay, so enjoy that.
Back to ARPA funds.
Yes. So what we did is once we received notification of the ARPA funds, we advertised the application process. Agricultural producers had to show eligibility requirements, including they were a Chautauqua County resident. They filed a Schedule F for their farm business, and they also had to submit a business plan. Submitting a business plan for some of our agricultural producers was new, but it was a great learning experience for them, and our staff at Cornell Cooperative Extension helped with that. And there may have been a farm or two that worked with Small Business Development Center, but I don't know that as a fact. The accepted applications and business plans were accepted on a first-come, first-served basis through our office. And the total ARPA funds that were provided were accounted for very quickly. We received 50 applications and had additional calls to myself, as well as Emily, after the funds were all spoken for. Each farm submitted a business plan, and then the award was expected to be $10,000 per farm, but it was maximized at $7,700 per farm due to the number of completed applications. We end up with 32 agricultural businesses that received an opportunity of the $7,700. Not all farms did projects that required that $7,700. So some of it was left over. Emily will address that, but that's what we had. So I personally had a lot of correspondence with these 32 farms, actually the 50 farms, to answer their questions about the grant opportunity, as well as their additional requests for information as they're working on their projects. So I visited farms to review and discuss the results of their completed projects. And if you will just turn over to the side with a whole bunch of pictures for your handout, you will see that the projects included farms that improve soil health and crop production by applying lime and fertilizer. They improve soil drainage, producing or allowing for less nutrient losses, increased crop yields, which is better for the environment. And I just spoke with a producer at the Farm Bureau Board of Directors meeting that I sit on behalf of Cornell Cooperative Extension. And he made the comment, Lisa, let them know I didn't get stuck this year harvesting my grapes. So he had done some soil drainage, which made a big difference to his grape crop. The agricultural building improvements, these buildings are used in marketing locally produced meats, fruits, vegetables, and cheese. You're eating some of that cheese right now, even though it wasn't made in Chautauqua County, it is being marketed throughout Chautauqua County. Improved livestock management and new technologies resulting in increased farm production and profitability. And also upgraded agricultural equipment on some farms. Improved labor and fuel efficiency, and improved safety for farm workers and livestock. So if you look at this handout from left to right on the top, you'll see we have some drainage in a vineyard in Chautauqua County. The center photo is a new greenhouse at an existing business which is now handling bedding plants and expanded their room for their business. On the far right, the taller, longer photo are of some dairy calves, and this farm elected to put in an automated calf feeder, saving the farm significant dollars on paid labor, and it has helped his business tremendously. Obviously, of course, $7,700 is not going to cover the whole installation. You'll see when we flip the page over that the farms put a lot of money toward these investments to complement the ARPA funds. The second photo down on the left is a roadside stand. This is actually a granary that was built in the 1800s that has been fully restored. And I encourage you to visit Carlberg Farm and Produce.
Beautiful building.
Beautiful, and it is from the 1800s. Tremendous. Just in there a couple weeks ago. The center photo here is a livestock handling chute, a piece of equipment to keep the animals safe, as well as, most importantly, the operator, so the farm employee, the farm owner safe. Here we have a bunker silo that they increased the size of their bunker silo to be able to add more corn silage to the dairy cow's ration. I know that might not mean very much to some of you in the room, but it does improve the profitability of the farm because they have to purchase less grain to feed the cows because they are actually growing that corn on their own farm. In center here, third row down, is some fencing. This is some of the latest fencing that is available for horse producers as well as other livestock producers. It is a vinyl coated fencing to keep the horses safe. And this producer actually had significant losses of horses getting caught up in some barbed wire and some woven wire. And Emily is a horse owner, and maybe some of you realize that horses can get themselves into some pickles. But this has really helped the farm with keeping the animals safe and in the fence. This next piece of equipment with the red top, does anyone know what that is? Anyone want to guess to me?
Besides Lauren.
Except Lauren, yeah. Or maybe Mark, you can't vote. I don't know. Anyone have a guess?
Barn.
It's
Barn vacuum.
actually, it's worth.
It is like a farm vacuum.
It is a farm vacuum. It's worth about the price of a car. Let's put-
Half a car.
So this is actually a manure Roomba, if you would. It actually is on an automated system where it will go around in the dairy barn where the cattle are defecating, and it will pull the manure into the electronic device here, or the robot, and then it will take it to an area where there's some grates, and it will release it down into a storage area. So therefore, the farmer does not have to run tractors back and forth to clean the barn. The cows are much calmer, the cows are much cleaner. This is on a regular basis, just like a Roomba that you might have for your home. It's on an automated system where it just cleans the barn. It's the latest technology in our dairy industry for cleaning dairy barns. This farm also put in some robotic milkers, a robotic milking system. That was not part of what he applied for the funds for, but it was specifically to add this to his technology with his farm. And the lower left column, the lower left photo here is a new utility vehicle that has proved incredible labor savings in the vineyard for a viticulturalist. And on the far right is a farm that ended up doing some roadways as well as paved or used some asphalt in the parking lot for a fruit U-pick operation, so that we could have customers get out of their cars and not end up with mud, safer.
Everywhere.
That was his other idea, was it being safer. So those are some of the projects. And then if you go on the front side of the paper with all of the color and the charts, I'm losing my voice, so Emily, I'll let you take over.
That just puts some numbers to the project. So the top is reported by agricultural district, so you can see how many farms were assisted in each of the districts, and then the bottom portion is the same numbers, but it's by industry. So it's just two different ways to look at the impact of the numbers. The project totals are on the bottom, so you can see that there was a significant investment from the farms, a small amount of ARPA funds that were used. Another number that we put in there is in our conclusion with each farm, Lisa would go do a visit and a follow-up to see how the project went, where it ended up, and we did a little survey with each of the farms as they come out of the project and asked them, their estimated increase in farm profitability. So if you look at that $1 million number there, that is from estimated profitability to these farms for being able to complete these projects. Now, like Lisa said, most of the farms, so we advertised that we would match 25% of their improvement costs. What it came down to was that we matched about 19% of their improvement costs, and we did that to stretch the funds a little further over to the first 32 farms that had applied. We got 32 applications within 15 minutes of the application going live, and then about 4 hours later, started to get more applications in. So that's how we did our best to try to take it on a case-by-case, first-come, first-served basis. So anyway, you can see that, it's approximately $8.90 went back into the community for every dollar of ARPA money that was spent. So it's not exact, but it's approximately $8.90 return on investment for the funds that went into kind of instigating or helping along these projects or encouraging them to do these projects. So everybody I've talked with has been, super appreciative of the help and the support, and it was well noticed, and it's a relatively small amount for ARPA funds, so it had a pretty large impact just on morale across the county as well. There is a little over $3,000 left unused, and I don't know who to ask or where we're at with those funds, if we should look into our applicants and see if there's another project that wants to be done or another couple projects that wants to be done, or if it's too late to use those funds, or I don't know where we're at with that.
Can that go back into the ARPA funding?
It can be returned to the ARPA.
Can be returned? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't received it yet because we billed by project.
Okay.
So I don't know if it should be returned back to that or if we should use it for another project, and you don't have to answer that right now. It's just something that I needed to inquire about in the end, but we'd entertain any questions if you guys had any questions about what we did. Like I said, I just wanted to provide you with that feedback of what we did with the money, where it
I
went.
just have a comment. I think what you do and how you're doing it is huge. And it's great to see how the
Thank
money's
you.
spent, where it's being
Thank you.
spent, and how it's being spent. So it's important to me to know where my tax dollars are going, where the ARPA funding went to a lot of people who have that question. So it's been answered, and I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Great
Roman.
presentation.
Thank you.
And the producers, the agricultural producers are they couldn't say enough positive about, please get the word back to the county legislators in regard to this opportunity, because oftentimes agriculture is not looked at as being as significant as I believe we all should know it is. It's a significant business in our county, and as you can see, producers put a lot of their own money in to make these projects successful. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How did you like the cheese?
Cheese was very good.
Very good. It's back here.
Okay.
I saw you looking.
I was just trying to make sure we take our mess with us.
Thank you for the
Thanks
cheese.
for the snacks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Dave, do you have anything to offer?
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Emily. Thank
Yeah,
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
And we'll leave these Eden Valley brochures and some business cards here.
Yep.
Just because it's an exciting business. They do show all of the different varieties of dessert. And if you'd like to know, I mean, it is in our major supermarkets, but if you go directly to the cheese store, you will pay a little less
Okay.
and be able to buy a little bit more.
They
Thank
also
you.
have ice cream too.
Oh, yes, they have ice cream.
If you
too,
go right
that's
there, they have ice
Yeah.
cream.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ellen.
Great presentation. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
The ninth item on the agenda is a presentation by Lisa Haglund to Rehab Skilled Nursing and Assisted Living Operations. She's the president and CEO of the Heritage Foundation.
Thank you for having me. Lisa Haglund, CEO at Heritage. I don't want to go over, so I'll try to shorten it. I'm not sure how much time I have, but I'm very thankful that Pierre invited me to talk about really less about Heritage and what's happening in our industry. I think Lutheran closing some of its, yes. Oh, we can do this again. Okay. Okay.
While we're waiting, I told the other committee that Lisa was kind enough to come and speak with us tonight. She also invited her counterpart from Lutheran, Tom Holt, and unfortunately, he had another commitment, so he could not be here tonight. But Lisa still is delivering the message well for us, so we appreciate that.
Thank you. Thanks, Pierre.
Thank you for having me. Oh, look at, you're gonna let me, you're so on it. Thank you.
I just needed a minute.
Thank you.
You're too fast for me.
I know, I just start right in. I come from the financial world. I spent about 25 years in the private corporate sector working for Northwest and Jamestown Savings Bank, came over and moved to the non-for-profit world. So when I'm talking to you tonight, I'm really, and it sounds, I feel like I had a moment in the last presentation, I'm like, this sounds like doom and gloom, but I think I'm a strong believer in transparency. We have to have margin to do things the right way, and our health sector is very important to Chautauqua County. So I just want to talk about the economic, regional, and kind of the current climate we're experiencing. 28% of Chautauqua County's workforce is in healthcare. Heritage employs 12% of that. And we are at risk, just like Lutheran. So it would be silly to act like we're not experiencing the same trials and that we're not facing an issue with sustainability in the future after 130 years. You'll see we're one of the top 5th local employers. We did bring over 90% of the displaced residents Lutheran discharged. However, that's going to be at a $716,000 minimum loss to us this year to care for them. We infuse around $28 million in annual buying power, and we are struggling. We're lacking reimbursement. We have not received, we went over 15 years without a Medicaid increase. We just received one last year for the first time from New York State, and I just received the budget after being in Albany yesterday, the proposed budget, and they are proposing to cut Medicaid now this year after the first increase in 17 years. And they're proposing to not only cut Medicaid, but cut programming and funding to assisted living and the ALP programs throughout our state. You'll see here that what is happening in senior communities across the U.S. is they're experiencing bankruptcy and foreclosures and closures at an alarming rate. Over 400 have closed in the last year. And when our industry is affected, it affects the hospital, doctor's office, mental health, as well as our entire aging population who do not have the support services they need. We cannot regulate our way into reform. It also affects Chautauqua County through a population decline. So while I am a strong advocate for arts and for football and for all of the things my children do at Maple Grove and all of the extracurricular activities, I'm also a strong proponent in investing in education in our healthcare system, because without that, we're going to continue to see a census decline in Chautauqua County. A greater portion of our population is in the senior sector, and that is going to grow over the next 5 years. The cost of care. People were really surprised when Lutheran closed. And when the WCA home closed, it wasn't as much of a surprise because it was small. However, we've had 400 in the last year close in this country alone. We are not producing enough staff, clinical staff, CNAs, LPNs, RNs, nursing home administrators. We're not covering the basic cost of care. I'm very proud of our facilities. Lutheran and Heritage both have done a great job at maintaining quality. We don't have one-star facilities here like there are so many in the New York City. However, the average cost of care per day is around $326. Our Medicaid reimbursement on average is $196. We are losing about $130 a day or $35,000 per day caring for residents across our community in Chautauqua County. You'll see the same thing holds true in assisted living. This is not sustainable. For 130 years, Heritage has remained open. We've been a resource for the community, for the hospital, for mental health, but we have to change. We have to diversify. Earlier in the session, I don't know if it was Mrs. Gustafson or someone else asked, what else needs to happen? How do you diversify and how can we help? Two things I didn't realize that I should have said the first time around is we need help in diversification, in networking to funders and new ideas and other committees across Chautauqua County so we can collaborate, streamline, reduce cost, and streamline services. We also need a stronger governing body. And I'm going to be very careful how I say this, but for 130 years, Heritage as a non-for-profit and mission-based organization has been mainly governed. 65% of our members are Free Methodist. However, we don't just serve the Free Methodist population. That changed around 30 years ago. Most of our board members are not in Chautauqua County. They don't understand the struggle, and that's nothing against them. That's not to be disparaging. We have amazing board members, but they are out of the county. They are not part of healthcare or any of the organizing areas we need, like labor law and healthcare and the things to help us influence in this county. So that is another way that we need help. I'm trying to build the local presence for Heritage. We also have to work on our development and philanthropy. Less than 1% as a non-profit of our program budget is coming from philanthropy, and we have to change that in the coming years. But we also have to diversify in the services we're offering and our case mix and how we provide care. You can see here, this is just an example. We went 15 to 17 years, I can't remember off the top of my head, without a Medicaid increase in New York State. And we get, for every $100, we receive a 76% return from Medicaid. A majority of the population we serve, around 85%, is Medicaid. That's not sustainable. So this is not meant to be doom and gloom, but I'm working with the local hospital. I'm working with Tom at Lutheran, working with Absolute. We're trying. We have residents who don't have transportation to get dialysis every week. The hospital has residents, patients sitting in the hallway. When the skilled nursing and assisted living programs start to fail, then your hospital starts to experience more compression. And actually, in the budget cuts that just got announced, or the proposed budget, the hospitals are proposed to see a 10% cut in this upcoming year. And 42% of hospitals are already operating at a deficit in New York State. So our community needs a strong health care system, And it might not matter to you until you have a grandparent in a senior living facility or a parent, but it should matter. Because when you go to the hospital, and so I told the story about my father-in-law. He was in, our length of stay used to be 30 days. Now we have to discharge after 14 days. They go back to the hospital, or they go home, they fall, they have another accident after having a stroke because they're not ready yet. And when they're in the hospital, they're taking a bed for someone, right, in different age groups, or someone giving birth. The hospital's having to hire agency workers. It's not sustainable, the current healthcare system in our country. And New York State is actually lagging behind many other states in this area. So I'm not suggesting that we don't have reform and that we don't transform. I believe we have to innovate and do that, but I don't believe we can do that just through regulation. I think we have to do that through investment in people and programs that create workers and new services that help people transition back to home. I think everyone knows that the hospital's overrun and what's happening, and there's no point in talking about COVID anymore, even though it's still here, but it did add an extra burden. This system was already in place. It was already starting to fail. COVID added an additional burden. Nursing homes were required in New York State to test and swab twice a week at our own cost, and that was $5 million over the past 2 years. That was on top of our daily average loss that I'm telling you about. So I'm really here to say we have new leadership. The leadership we are putting into place cares about the mission, but we're trying to diversify even in our leadership. We need to understand how to have margin to operate the mission. We have to diversify our board and grow our board strength. We have to connect, just like we're doing here with you tonight. We have to have advocacy. There's advocacy days coming up at the end of this month in Albany. I feel like our voice is not being heard. I was just there yesterday, and I feel like we're not being heard. To give you an example, there was VAPAP, which is a vital access provider funding, which would have helped us transform some of our facilities and levels of care. People in New York City are getting it right and left who have lower star ratings, lower quality ratings, and we're not being heard. These are the things we need help advocating on. We're just not getting the same amount of support, but we have the same amount of regulations. And we have to diversify and be here because it's not just for our seniors. When you walk into a skilled nursing facility, it might feel like it's for your father, your mother, your loved one, but it is a bottleneck. When we fail, we were created to alleviate the bottleneck for hospital systems, for mental health providers, to provide one place for rehabilitation, and it's failing right now. And it's not just here. So this is right out of the budget, the proposed budget address that she sent out, I think, about a week ago. We have more than $300 billion in New York State they're releasing. She is saying it's one of the largest and most complex in the nation. You can read more about it. I think this is page like 170 out of 180 pages. However, if you look here in her own wording, New York State ranks 46 in the nation in emergency department wait times, and part of that is because of what's happening in skilled nursing facilities. Hospital quality and safety ratings are both low, 45th and 40th in the nation. That's not our hospital's fault. We're in a rural community. We need programs that educate employees and create nurses, keep people here in our county. We need investments to do that in a rural community. Our system and our long-term care system, which already spends nearly twice as much per capita, faces mounting pressure. I mean, I think that's self-explanatory. And in aggregate, this is from her address, New York ranks 45th in the hospital, quality nationally, and 40th in safety. And again, that's not our hospital. It's because we are not investing. When skilled nursing breaks, it trickles over to the hospital. It trickles over to the doctor's office. When we don't have healthcare and education at the forefront in our county, it's going to affect everything else. So to me, this is all intertwined. It's not just about, I love living here. I love living in Bemis Point. It's great to be there in the summer. I love raising my kids here. But I also want to know that I can go to the hospital here. I want to know that I can get into the doctor's office and that they're not bottlenecked because you have a senior who's not getting proper care. So now they're doing readmissions and changing it. We are not a recipient as a non-for-profit. Healthcare is not a major focus in New York State or in this county. And I'm hoping to advocate and change for that. That's not a path to sustainability. We can't rely on just healthcare, but we have to tell our story more. And that's part of, I hope, my job here. And I think that's it.
On that last yellow highlight, right, we were 40-some% more expensive than the nation as a whole. Did I pick that up right?
The highlighted one?
Yes, yes,
But per cap, we cost 40-odd% more
Yes.
than the rest of the country.
yeah.
Why?
It is my quick and easy, and it's gonna sound a little disparaging the way I say it, but it's just the simplest way to say it, is you have a lot of spending in New York City for a lot of low quality and a lot of fines, higher salary dollars, and cost coming right out of the city in those areas. And in the rural network, we're kind of paying for that.
So it'd be interesting to break that down between.
I could do that.
rural counties and the five.
Yep, I could do that. I could get some information and email it over to you guys.
I don't think you need to because we live here.
I know,
We know what's going on.
but it's maddening, and
No, it is.
and I will say that,
This is a circle that we're never gonna catch up on.
yes. And my job, I think, is just to raise awareness. The first 2 years in this role, Heritage expanded, I feel, too largely. It's just my personal opinion. We went too big, too quick. We weren't prepared. So we expanded into Seattle, the state, Washington State, as well as into Illinois, outside of Chicago. My job when I stepped into this role 2 years ago, mid-pandemic, was if we have to cut the foot off to save the body, which is our core here, is that's what we're gonna do. So we've cut those services, and now it's really telling our story here, building it, what advocacy we can, and building our board here. I don't think we've ever done a good job of that. We don't ask for help, and it's not sustainable.
No, it's not sustainable.
No.
The numbers are
Well,
not.
innocent people like me see that we're more expensive, so why are we asking for more money?
Yeah,
And they're, oh,
right.
peel the onion back.
Yes,
and-
yeah. And you know, I'll be frank with you, it's not just more money so we can keep providing skilled care. We have to change 20% of how we do business, keep our core, but we have to change enough of it to bring in revenue. And to do that, we need dollars. And right now, we don't have the dollars. And we need staff. That's a whole,
Vicious circle.
it's so disheartening. Just- they all deserve better.
They do.
Yeah. And we do as a county as well. Any other questions?
Did a great job, President.
Thank you. Thank you
Presentation,
for
thank you so
giving me
much.
your computer. Oh.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you very much.
The last item on the agenda is other. Do we have any other?
I just have a short 30-minute presentation I'd like to give. I'm
Please,
just kidding.
please. Jamie, go ahead.
She said, what are you doing?
I have a short
She has a
30-minute
presentation.
I'd like to give.
I'd like to speak too.
Okay, great. If there is no other, go ahead. Do you really have?
I have a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Oh, no, I do want to talk. I really do.
Okay, Dave,
Believe it
please.
or not. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, so I was down at the county dump. It's because I don't have anything to do and I'm cleaning
It's the
out house.
landfill.
Okay. The landfill.
Thank you for the correction.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that. At the landfill. A lot of good people work there. Anyways, the guy says to me, do you know, now I just happen to know him from my going out in the community and stuff. He happens to be a great bartender, but I won't mention where the bartender's at. He says, do you know that Jamestown Mattress brings in about 50 mattresses a week at the landfill? So we just passed some tipping fees at $10 a piece. Right? You take a mattress to the landfill for $10. So we're really booking them for $500 a week. Because when you buy a new mattress, what do? They take your old.
Right, and they have to dispose.
So I was just kind of throwing it out there about maybe revisiting that. Maybe have something like what an individual like that would pay max $2,000 a year. Because we're really going after a mom and pop shop. Now, they're really diversified, and Jamestown Mattress is quite big, but that's a lot of money for used mattresses, I think.
But they pass it on to the consumer.
Sure.
And I'm sure they do.
They do.
But one of the things is I'm saying, it seems like it's kind of like a penalty, and I don't know, when I said yes to it, I didn't really think of it. I thought about every 6 or 7 years when I get a new mattress, they come and take mine. But if you do that for a business, I think we're really hitting that. That's kind of expensive, I think.
Dave, as Lauren pointed out, chances are they're paying by the weight as a commercial.
Well, he said that they were actually, that the mattresses go right in the dump.
Right, but they're probably paying on the weight of the truck that they bring in, not on a per mattress charge. I'm not sure of that.
Well, no,
Lauren's
I'm
not
just-
sure of that, but
I'm just throwing that out there, because I was
Yep.
kind of shocked by that, and I said, you know what, there is something I can do about that. So I just figured I'd bring that up to you, put that in the back of your mind, and we'll ask when we see the landfill people here.
Well, they were one of my customers, actually, the Pullmans were.
Okay.
And so I can talk to them, and, you know, to find out how they're disposing. I mean, that'd be the first question I would ask.
Sure.
and how are they getting charged?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can ask that question, get that for you if you need to.
Well, I'm just saying, it seemed, when I sat here and I said yes to that, I'm thinking that, you know, I would, every 6 or 7 years, I'd get a new one, it would cost me $10, wouldn't really bother me. I did not think of a businessman who's literally bringing hundreds of those to the
Yep.
landfill.
But we've got this extended producer responsibility act coming down on us from Albany. You guys know about this?
Yes.
All right, so this kind of point's gonna be right in that
Right.
Sure.
mess.
So I just figured I'd bring that up on your other.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Dave. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Did you hear your presentation, Jamie?
I'm gonna table it for.
You can table it? Okay.
Okay.
I guess we're looking for a motion to adjourn.
Because I like you so much.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
All those in favor of adjournment?
Oh,
Yay, we're adjourned.
All right.
yay.
Thanks, Blake.
All right, folks. I don't see